Good evening, everyone. Today we are coming with another lecture in our international lecture series. Today we have with us Dr. Jurrien Bijhold, and he's going to talk about the mixed reality of crime scene investigations with some very interesting presentations and a live demo of particular tools also. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation for delivering a talk on this very important topic, which is very, very required because crime scene has many challenges and we used to face. I welcome all the participants along with my co-host, Dr. Pooja Chakravarti. I request my co-host, Dr. Pooja Chakravarti, to give the brief introduction about our esteemed speaker.
Sure, sir. Today we have with us Jurrien Bijhold as introduced by Dr. Ranjit Singh sir. In 1986, he got a master's degree in experimental physics. In 1992, he got a PhD for his work on topics in medical imaging. With a special interest in computer technologies, he has worked for 25 years at the Netherlands Forensic Institute. In the past 15 years, he worked on innovations for crime scene investigators. Presently, he is a researcher and teacher at the Leiden University of Applied Sciences with a special interest in mixed reality applications. On behalf of Sherlock Institute of Forensic Science, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to accept our invitation, sir. Thank you so much for coming with us.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. And without wasting a time, without interfering in such wonderful session, I request Dr. Jurrien Bijhold to take over the session and present this session with the present audience. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And I will open my presentation for you. And I'm working for the Leiden University of Applied Sciences. Therefore, can I change the slide? Yes. So I will use the style of the PowerPoint presentations of the Leiden University. I've been introduced already shortly, so I will not elaborate more about myself. What's important is to explain where this topic came from. Well, it started already in 2010. I got involved in the CSI The Hague project for innovation of crime scene investigation methods and technology. And since then, I kept on working on applications of mixed reality. And in 2019, I got the opportunity at the Leiden University to become a lecturer and researcher. But it all started at the Netherlands Forensic Institute. And this is an image of the institute, a new building, very big. I think there are about 400 people working in that institute. And there was, at that time, we also rented an industrial building with a large hall, and that hall was used for practical work and practical tests in cooperation with the police. And that's where we did the innovations on crime scene innovation. And that's how it started in 2008. Very primitive. It was just a burglary webcam of a webcam household device sold as a protection against burglary. It worked in a wireless connection, not Wi-Fi, but something else. And I mounted it on a head, and that's how we started the first experiments in cooperation with the police and the University of Amsterdam. Later, we had the CSI The Hague project, and then the Delft Technical University demonstrated a home-built device for mixed reality, glasses, cameras, projections on the glasses, and the software came from China. That's what I understood, and that's how we did the first experiments on mixed reality. This is our university, or actually one of the buildings, and we only rent one small part of this huge building for ICT, and we have about 400 ICT students. They work in 4 different specialties: software engineering, interaction technology, business data administration, and forensic ICT. And every year we have about 50 students that start with forensic ICT. This is the idea of this bachelor program. We try to learn the students how to do forensic investigations with their knowledge and skills in ICT. And very important, how to keep themselves qualified for jobs in the forensic field, because in ICT everything is changing all the time. Our students are strongly encouraged to explore for themselves all available technologies, tutorials, and other documentation that can be found in open sources. And topics include open source intelligence and e-discovery. We also do research. We look at developments in Internet of Things and mixed reality, and that's for getting future directives for developing education programs. Our laboratory is in the Hague Security Delta. That's an organization which is located in a building in The Hague. And in that big building, we only have one room and one lab. And it's a nice facility because in The Hague Security is actually an organization for many different companies and knowledge institutes and government institutes for working together on security problems. So all these big organizations rent only 1 or 2 rooms in this building, and some of them also have labs. So it's a nice environment also for students to meet people from companies and government organizations. And in this lab, we also have a small part for doing hardware investigations. And this is actually the first picture of the HoloLens. In this hardware lab, they also open all kinds of devices just to find out if they can get the information out of the electronics. And some of these students and teachers also want to open my Holo device. So I have to be very careful with it. So in this lab, we do prototype testing, we do little student projects to find out more about digital traces. They learn about reverse engineering, and they can do lots of experimenting. And it's also open for guests and other sponsor organizations. So this is the small introduction. And now I come to the real topics. And I will start to explain more about what I know about crime scene investigation. I am not a crime scene investigator. I'm a scientist. I worked in a forensic institute, but I learned about cooperation with crime scene investigators, and I have done a lot of projects with them. And I will explain more about the problems and the difficulties in crime scene investigation to make you understand what I want to do with mixed reality. I hope I can offer solutions with mixed reality. And there might be applications in crime scene investigation, in training and education, and in courtroom presentations. So I will start a little bit to explain about what I know about crime scene investigation. And it always starts with recognition of a scene. Is this actually a crime scene? What do we know about this scene? Is it safe, for instance? That's maybe the most important question now. Is it actually safe? And so we probably need to consult an expert. So if I'm a simple policeman, I already have a problem. How to find this expert and how to communicate with the expert. And if I have to act quickly and I have to secure the scene or I have to protect the people who want to enter the scene, how to do this? So it starts with communication problems and recognition problems of what's dangerous and what's not. The next question is, where can I find traces for identification of the perpetrators? Similar problem. This might be normal equipment in a modern farm, but maybe it could also be something that's used for the production of illegal drugs. We also have lots of industrial scenes, industrial problems. And who knows what this is? Who can help if there is a problem? Another scene, how to start the investigation. And if we have a team of people, how can we communicate about a working plan in this scene? Because you cannot come closely in a safe way. It's very risky, and there might be further collapse. So, and we cannot go there and bring our crime scene markers, our physical markers. We have to work from a distance. Finally, we enter a classical crime scene, a normal crime scene. You see someone wearing a white suit, protection against contamination, and this suit makes it also difficult to work. Actually, we don't want to walk around there when we do a crime scene investigation. We want to work from a distance. You can see already the physical markers, and there are already lots of discussions about the use of these physical markers because they also could be a source of contamination. Things get worse when people had high expectations from microtraces like DNA. You cannot see them. So if we take a sample of DNA, how can we show in court that we actually took that sample and that we treated that sample in the right way? So you need to do a lot of documentation, a lot of photography. But you only have two hands when you're working on a scene. So you need at least a second person to take these pictures. And then what about the administration of all these pictures? How can I be sure that a DNA sample, a DNA result from the lab is still resulting from this sample at scene. So the chain of custody has become very important. We also want to work with forensic light sources. And again, we only have 2 hands. And if we work with a source like that, we end up with pictures like this. Black pictures, you can see the traces. But once in the laboratory or once in court, can you still find out what this picture is showing? Do you still understand that this is a picture that was taken at the scene at that spot? So there are many possibilities in modern forensics, but there are also many new problems. And yeah, what about the process of investigation itself? Normal procedure is, most countries have a 4-step procedure. First, you do a reconnaissance, you walk around without touching anything, then you make a plan, then you start collecting, and then you do an interpretation. That's the normal way. But what if you find some surprises? In this case, and a blanket is lifted, and then it shows biological traces. And maybe at this point it is necessary to make a new plan for the trace sampling. So that happens if you are collecting traces. The scene might change, and this need to be documented. And you only have 2 hands. You are working in that white suit. You are not supposed to walk around a lot. So you might need some extra tools as a help. Same for preliminary tests. How can we do this with only 2 hands? And finally, the collection. Maybe you are using barcodes. Is there a way to avoid typing these code numbers? Is there a way to do this automatically? Then the courtroom situation. This is classical. Courtrooms, people still deal with boxes with lots of documents and reports. And in these reports, you have maps and photographs. And is it possible to make sense out of them? So much material. This is a moot court. Our students also get an experience of presenting evidence in a court. This is not a real court, but this is how it looks like. And finally, the topic of training and education. This is a simulated crime scene in a space of the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. They have a special bachelor program for crime scene investigation. The police also works with simulated crime scenes, and they often look like this. It's always some spare room in a building, furniture from the market, so it's always old, dirty, 80s, furniture from the 80s, so not modern. So it's not a representative scene for modern scenes, but anyway, that's what people use and what they have to use. You can see they have also done lots of experiments in the past, and you can still see the purple spots from some chemical treatment. So it's not an ideal space for testing and training. Then one of the teachers asked me, is it possible to have the students first working in a virtual copy of this scene? And I can do that. I stop share. I will share something else with you. It's just a website, and it is very simple. Actually, it works with panoramic images. It's actually a panoramic image store. As a student, you can fill in your name. No, that's not my name. And I can look around. I can enter the crime scene. And I'm still not entered the crime scene because first you have to check what's outside. And maybe there is a footprint. I'm not sure if there's a footprint. But if I am a student, I could place there a marker. And I can type anything. That's the idea of the teacher. Students can type anything they like. Then I can enter. I can look around. I already see a victim. We are not supposed to walk directly to the victim, but to walk around first. So in this tour, the student cannot make the error to walk directly to the victim. Now you can look around. I can go further. And I can make notes. Cards, play. Oh, the wrong position. Okay. This software needs to be improved. So this is what the teacher wanted me to create, and how does it look like? Or I can also simulate a lower position. You have to make an effort to see things from a lower position. And this is what the teacher can see in the journal. This is just a timestamp. This is the number of the panoramic viewpoint. And these are the observations of the student. And the teacher can discuss these observations with the student to teach him or her more about the task of crime scene inspection. So the idea was of this teacher to have the students do this first and then have them enter the real simulated crime scene. I will go back to the presentation. And I share the PowerPoint. And I continue there. And this is an example of a small simulated crime scene. And it's easier to reproduce. But the problem with simulated crime scenes is how to how to build it a number of times again in the same way. The reproduction of the simulated crime scene, that's actually the problem. Virtual crime scenes can be reproduced, but what if you want your students to do some physical exercise in a simulated crime scene? So an idea might be to work on smaller crime scenes where students can only practice a small number of procedures. And that's where mixed reality comes in. This was the idea of the CSI The Hague project in the past. The idea was to work with big screens on which we could project virtual reality, to have a number of simulated crime scenes, small crime scenes, and to have them equipped with lots of cameras, so it would be possible to monitor the behavior of the students on this simulated crime scene. We also use that facility for demonstration of new technology, and this is the University of Delft doing a test with an augmented reality glasses. You can see he's wearing a very heavy laptop on his back. There are big cables, so this was not a nice device, but anyway, it was a first test with augmented reality, and this was a simulated ecstasy lab in an apartment kitchen. This is one of the newer versions. A number of years later, it was already much smaller, much nicer, but still not ideal because you had to carry still a laptop on your back. Now I will show you what we can do now with a modern device, the HoloLens of Microsoft. I will do a live demonstration, and you can find also movies of these demonstrations on a website, and I'm still busy with a real paper and a real website because this is a professional website. So I will share my screen once again for another application. Stop share. First, I will show you the HoloLens, what all this is all about. It's actually a Windows 10 system. I will wear it. And it is also a web server in it, and I will connect with a browser to this HoloLens. See if it's still working. I have to renew the connection. It takes some time. Sorry about that. I'll select a low resolution to make sure we will not lose the connection. And it's working. There's a delay of about 3 seconds of what I see and what you can see. I will give you a full screen. First, I will. Can someone confirm me that this is still working and that you're still hearing me? Can you confirm, Rajit?
Yes, it is visible.
Thank you very much. Okay, I will move around in our living room. I've got permission from my wife to consider this living room as a classroom and a simulated crime scene. I will start the application. You will see a Windows menu floating. I will explain how this is possible. First, I will show you how it works. HoloLens is continuously scanning the room, and it tries to map the room, and I can visualize this map as a mesh. And the mesh is also updated. If I move something in this room, you will see that the mesh will change. after a few seconds. I will move this chair. There's a ghost image of the chair. It takes some time, but then you see the meshes changed accordingly to the change in the scene. So with this mesh, it's possible for the HoloLens to compute where it should place the virtual reality or the virtual objects. I will stop this. And I will start the application. I actually 4 applications. I will start with a simple one. I will just bring in a logo. I can move it around. And you can see this interaction with the mesh. It also pushes through the wall. It will become invisible and I can bring it back. So it just works with finger movements. This is an application for crime scene investigation. And, instead of physical markers, I can bring in virtual markers. For instance, could be finger marks on the oven controls. And they stay linked. Then I can give it a random number. You can make it bigger, smaller. So it's easier to look at. So I've asked the police about their ideas of using these markers. They told me they actually want to use it for marking traces that could fit in one story. So the police works with different stories, hypotheses of what could have happened. And with these numbers, they can link all the objects and traces that help to explain or to prove one of the stories or hypotheses. So that's just one of the applications. So keep in mind, this application is not used in real practice now. We are simply doing lots of user tests with the police in simulated crime scenes. I can also take pictures, and they will be shown as floating visual screens. I cannot demonstrate actually the capture of a picture because the camera is now being used by the video link. And the camera can do two things at the same time. And I can also do video. In the same way, so I can bring in video screens in a crime scene for briefing and debriefing purposes. Another application might be the introduction of a virtual victim or a virtual perpetrator. This is also very experimental. It's not so easy to control. It needs more development. So I wonder what your ideas will be. Then there is an application for court presentations. This could be a crime scene. idea is that the judge and the people in the court can look at the big screen like you are doing now at home. And the judge can tell the user of the HoloLens what to do. So the judge is in charge, he can control what is shown to the public. And for instance, he could ask the HoloLens operator to move closely to the crime scene, to move, for instance, to one of the rooms to find out what's inside. At this moment, there's no interaction with this object, but it might be possible in this way to bring up, for instance, documents, investigation reports. And finally, last application, that's for training and education. The idea is that a teacher can bring latent traces in the crime scene, represented by red spheres in this case. And they can make them invisible. Then the student can try to find them, but he can only see them if he is close enough. And yeah, police already told me they like this application. They asked me, is it possible to ask the student to work with a virtual forensic light source. So he will only see the traces if he is actually using the virtual forensic light source. And then that's it. I will stop sharing again. I will go share again the PowerPoint. And there's another application, and that might be useful in reconstruction of shooting incidents. And this is a movie. And it demonstrates that you can also see the same visual content from two HoloLenses. This is a movie that's recorded by one of the two HoloLenses. And what I'm demonstrating here is that the HoloLens can also do, or the software can do, image recognition. This is a probe with an image. The probe is inserted in a simulated bullet hole. The image is recognized. I click on a virtual control, and there is a virtual reconstruction of a bullet trajectory. I can bring the probe to a second bullet hole. I can do the same thing. So in this way, we can find out from a number of bullet trajectories what the positions could have been of the shooter.
I think we have not shared. We are not able to see your screen.
Oh, okay, sorry. What happened? What do you see?
We cannot see, only we are seeing your camera, like you are visible only, no presentation or any browser is visible.
Okay, I will do this again.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, we do it again. So this is, so again, I am moving to a bullet hole. I'm inserting a probe with an image. The image is recognized by the HoloLens. Then it shows me a virtual control. I click, and there's the bullet trajectory. I move to a second bullet hole. I do the same thing. All this is filmed from a second HoloLens. And these two bullets might have been fired from the same position. You see, this is an old movie, an old user interface. There's a warning because I'm not a ballistic expert. So if you use this in practice, the people on the crime scene know that this has to be verified by an expert in ballistics. So it also demonstrates that you can use mixed reality as a tool for organizing all the work that has to be done. So if that was the position of the shooter, there might have been gunshot residues on his left sleeve. So it might be an idea to search for gunshot residues on the clothes of the suspect on the left sleeve. I told you about the possibility to take photographs and video recordings. Well, this is a demonstration of that. So this is a photograph that's left for another investigator. And it shows that there might have been a hit on the head of the victim at that position because there is an impact blood spot pattern found on this door. It's also possible to do barcode recognition and to use speech control. So you can just say to the HoloLens, take a photograph or take or some keyword, and then a photograph is taken. And if there is a barcode, it will be recognized. And the barcode could be used to code the file name of this photograph, for instance. We also tested it outside. Sunlight could be a real problem. You have to avoid the direct incidence of sunlight. And the traffic police was interested, and we also found out that there might be problems in large areas if there are not enough details in the scene, because then the HoloLens can literally lose its track. And you can this problem can be solved by using markers, physical markers like this one, that are also used for guiding the traffic. In the future, I want to find out what applications are useful in cooperation with the police. I want to do more voice control. And we found out that there is a lot of interest in applications for training and education. And I also want to do more experiments with cloud services for image recognition. I do this with students. I've got the opportunity to develop a half-year course. So it's a half-year course on mixed reality for crime scene investigation and first responders. I teach them what a crime scene officer has to know, to do, and to learn, what the possibilities and limitations are of simulated virtual and mixed reality, and whatever is needed for developing a mixed reality application. So this is the program. It's 10 weeks of lectures, workshops, practical assignments to get the necessary basic knowledge and skills. 10 weeks for developing and executing a small innovation project, And in all this time, during these 20 weeks, they can spend about 200 hours for self-directed study and experimentation. This is the software they work with, 3ds Studio Max, Unity, that's a gaming platform. They can do experiments in simulated crime scenes of the police. They work with the HoloLens, but they also work with Android. They make applications for smartphones using Arcore, Vivoria. And I also have many brainstorm sessions with professionals from the field of crime scene investigation. And that's actually very easy now because all professionals now are used to work with video conference software. So it's very easy now for me to have someone from the field just for half an hour in my virtual classroom. And that's very useful. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I can take questions if you want to.
Yes, I must say this is one of the best lecture I have ever read in this pandemic, with the live presentation and the live demo of the rules. We have few questions. Like number one question, does this HoloLens is a similar HoloLens which is provided by the Microsoft in a normal course, or it has some customized UI or some models are customized in their software for crime scene investigation?
Microsoft only provides the HoloLens, and they work closely with Unity for the software. So on the Unity platform, you can get also the plugins for working with the HoloLens. And the menus, the applications you have seen are built in Unity.
Okay, so how about the there are some different object which is present in the UK and some different kind of object or structure of the house present in the different country. So this Unity platform has a customization in that.
I missed the question. What your question is about Unity and
Unity and HoloLens combinedly, if we go at the scene of crime and for identification of the particular object, does they have the different all kind of object, or we have to choose from the predefined objects?
you can model themselves, and you can also use predefined objects. Actually, you can use whatever is available in open sources on internet.
Okay, great. Next question we have, what is the difference or what is the advantage or benefits from HoloLens and the 3D scanner, crime scene scanner, which we are using from the Faro and from the other things? How they both are different?
Yeah, you cannot use the HoloLens for making a 3D model of the scene. Because this mesh is not accurate, and HoloLens only creates a scan for getting coordinates for placing virtual reality. Okay. It's not designed to do a full capture of a scene.
Yes, I have another question from Dr. Rajesh Verma, sir. Does NFI makes available this technology and other tools for international institutions?
Well, this is now it's not NFI anymore because I'm working now for Leiden University, and it will be open source. And
the images or the video which we capture through this device, is it acceptable in the court of law?
There will be the same questions as other digital evidence.
Okay.
So yeah, there will be no new problems. The court is only concerned about the procedures in the court sessions. So they want to be very efficient, and they don't want to have experimentation in the courtroom. And they want to work with reports paper.
Very true.
They want to do that as efficiently as possible. So I think it's more. all this technology is more interesting for the police investigation teams.
Oh, great. Dr. Rajesh Verma, sir, do you have any other question?
No, Dr. Ranjit. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Akhilesh, sir, do you have any question? Any other participant?
It was an excellent presentation. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other participant wants to ask any query? So I think this is a wonderful session, and everything is well explained by the speaker. So there is not much query. Definitely, it is always a privilege to work on such instrument for the police officers, so that they can use this technology in their daily routine, in their daily investigation. And by that way, definitely they are going to benefit the judicial system as well as the law enforcement agencies. With this, I'm coming end of the session and also the end of this year session. In this year, we have conducted 51 quizzes and 31 international lectures by the different experts, including the Barry Fisher, Michael W. Street, and many more. Started from May. We started from May 3rd and ending in December, as there is a Christmas going to. I wish a Merry Christmas to the Jurrien for accepting our invitation as well as delivering a wonderful talk on this. As we are in the virtual space, so on behalf of Sherlock Institute of Forensic Science, I request my esteemed speaker, Dr. Jurrien Bijhold, to accept the certificate for presenting such a wonderful talk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It was again an honor to be invited by an institute in India.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, I would like to thank my dedicated team, my volunteer member, those who are reaching to the several platform. Thank you all. We wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. In next year, we are coming with several international conferences where we are going to invite all our speakers, and every month on last Saturday and Sunday, we are going to conduct these international conferences on the different topics. Soon we will announce the dates and other things after confirmation from the several speakers. And on this platform, I invite our speaker, Dr. Jurrien Bijhold, to also to be a part of our conference, which is going to be held in on crime scene. It is going to be held in April, I think. So this is a advanced invitation, although we'll send the official invitation over email also, sir. So with this, thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Jurrien Bijhold to give the concluding remark regarding today's session.
I hope it was useful for you, and I hope to stay in contact with you, because I'm still looking for ideas for applications.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Stay in touch. Thank you very much for giving me